Gonna start. Are you recording on both? Okay, cool.
Okay, awesome.
Hey guys, this is Sam Linares. I'm the host of the More podcast. We finally found a name for it.
Nice.
I mean, might as well. My company is for credit repair is More Credit Solutions, and our company for the virtual assistants is More Solutions. So I figured.
So it kind of like linked everything up.
Yeah, why
Same
not?
name.
It's the same
like
thing,
it.
and then like we can talk about a little bit of
I
everything.
like it. I
And
like
then here we have Rivera. Let me
That's
give you a
right.
round of applause real quick.
Nice.
So we got it, like live audience. Most people don't know, but we have a live audience over
Yeah,
here.
hey, I see you.
I see them. But how's it going, brother? How are
Good,
you?
bro. Good, man. Thank you so much for having me here. It's been a while since I've done a podcast, but I do like to come up with just different ideas, like kind of like what you have over here going on, right? So I like it. And thank you for having me here.
Yeah, I think that it's important to sit down and have conversations with different people. Like the first episode we had Lázaro, well, he's a real estate agent. Then we had Chase Walling. He's a salesperson for like luxury windows and doors.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And then we had a financial advisor last episode. So then we have you can tell us a little bit about like what
Yeah,
you do, what you're up to.
So I'm doing a couple of things right now. So I'm a mortgage loan officer. So I'm actually a business developer for the company that I work for, which is Blueprint Home Loans.
Shout out
Yeah, Blueprint. Yeah.
Shout out NFM.
Yeah, that's right. So here in Houston, it kind of like goes hand in hand to what I do as well on my other gig, which is I'm an event coordinator for a group here where we have actually a total of 5 different venues here in Houston.
It's like one of the best, well, one of the top.
Yeah.
Groups
No, it's actually a pretty well known. It's obviously the Clay Group hospitality team, and on 20th Street they have which is Say No Mas. It's kind of like a Mexican restaurant cantina.
Okay.
Then right next door it's High Social. It's more like an elevated cocktail lounge club type of feel, right? With it's a beautiful venue. You have a restoration hardware chandelier there. It's a beautiful venue. And right next to that you have Cattleman's, which is a country club. Yeah, so we just opened.
It just
that.
opened, right?
Yeah. About maybe like 3 months ago, 4 months ago, something like that. And then right next to Cattleman's, you have Boulevard Park, which is just more like a sports bar, two-story sports bar. And what I do for them, I'm an event coordinator, right? So the majority of my events, 90% of my events are real estate related. From wholesaling to, a real estate group to lending to anything that has to do with real estate. I think that's what my events go for. But obviously we can do it all, and I like the fact that since I'm a business developer for my company, I can do those events as well, right?
It's pretty cool that you kind of merge both of them, right? Because one of them you have to have events for real estate to bring people in, get to know each other, everything like that, and then you also back end it with like the events for the group. So that's pretty cool. What brought you to that?
You know what? It all happened very organically. Like it just never, like if I would have planned it like this, like, hey, this is exactly what I want to do, like as far as my setup, I don't think I would have done it. But it just happened that I was at the right place, the right time, the right moments, and I'm a very social person. I feel like I need to be in front of people, and instead of being behind a computer or in an office or anything like that. So I love what's visiting offices, getting together with people, going to either a lunch or networking or whatever it is, to even a training or just anything like that, a class. Yeah, so I like to get in front of a crowd, and obviously the more you expose yourself, I guess you're in front of mine.
So you could say that you're connected to like the top like business people in the city as far as like the real estate related.
Yeah,
You bump head. I mean, not bump heads, but you bump shoulders with them.
Yeah,
and at
the end of the day, it's kind of like you just don't know who's next to you, right?
Right.
And I love to introduce myself to just anybody out there. But that's how I've made the really good connections here in the real estate group or here in the real estate industry. Where I can say hi to the person right next to me, and it could be just a regular person just like me, or maybe he's a business owner of a brokerage, or or he's a big team leader for a group out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's a lot of people. It's crazy because there's a lot of people out there that they didn't know or they don't know how. Number one, it's not that expensive. It's kind of like depends on what you want to do, right? That one, you can buy out venues, or number two, you can actually. I didn't know I could do an event here. I didn't know you had the ability for for.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you don't really think about. Like, oh, okay, today we're gonna go to a happy hour. Oh, we're just gonna have a certain section, but most people don't know that you can contact the.
Right. Or they feel like it's very pricey or anything like that.
Yeah.
But with I guess with me, I try to make it somehow affordable because I need them to, number one, do their business with me. Number two, having that that networking event or that real estate group in my place in order for me to network for my company.
Right.
So I kind of like, I need both of them to happen. So I do give really good rates in order for them to do it with me, in order for me to take advantage and network as well.
Yeah, I think that's something that, like, I think that it in business, right, it's always about like leverage, what you can provide versus what you're getting out of it. And I think that if you're providing, win-win situations where people have to have events to promote their brands, but also helps you promote your brand and promote your events. I think that's like something really cool that you're doing.
No, and I mean, it's funny because you're kind of like killing two birds with one stone at the same time. It's like you working for them and then you working for that company.
Yeah, but it works out, and it doesn't, like, it feels genuine, right? Like, it doesn't feel like, oh, this guy is trying to make money off of me no matter how.
Right.
It's kind of like, oh no, you know what? Like, I'm providing this value to you, so like, you're not gonna get mind if I make money on it or not.
Yeah, no, and it just I'm telling you, it just happened so perfect. The way it just landed on my lap, but at the same time, it wasn't given to me. I did.
Like, you worked for it.
Yeah, I did put some work, and I proved myself that I'm able to do what I'm doing. But yeah, that's what I do. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. So before lending, before event coordinating, before all these happened, like, what were you doing? What were your goals and aspirations before that?
Yeah, you know what? I've always been in sales, so I just feel like, I've always been a believer of, number one, selling yourself as far as like, what you are able to offer, for yourself. So my entire career has been in sales, so from leasing actually executive office space here in Houston. I worked for a company called Regis for 4 years.
I know about them. Yeah, I've seen their ads everywhere. Like,
yeah.
They lease out like small like offices.
Yeah,
and also
it's kind of like co-working space, right?
Before it was cool.
Yeah, so I was there. I was an area sales manager for them for 4 years.
Oh,
so and then again, always been in sales. So actually, it's funny because I was with T-Mobile as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was there.
I mean, you have the haircut, bro.
That's a look.
That's a look that never goes away.
Yeah, there's a look. You need to have a beard too.
Yeah, and the beard. You're Hispanic. You got the beard, the haircut, bro. Like you're selling phones left and right.
So I was a retail store manager for them for 7 years.
Oh,
yeah, right on. It was a really good store on Veterans Memorial in Antoine. I don't know if you're familiar with that area.
Yeah, of course, it's right down the street.
Yeah. So it's a really good area for the type of store that we have.
Of course.
So
no, I think that's so cool. And then what brought you to the lending part? Like, how did you get your foot in the door?
I think it was more of it was during COVID. It was right before COVID when obviously Brian Delgado.
Shout out Brian.
Shout out Brian. Yeah, that's right. He's been telling me about.
Let me do a little round of applause for Brian.
Yeah, hey, thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you. It's been a while. I mean, he was trying for me to get into business. for a while, and now I kept always, saying no, I was good because, obviously, it's really comfortable whenever you're getting paid salary plus commissions plus this plus that plus bonuses, right? It's kind of like, you're just writing it out. It's good, you're comfortable, right? But it's not until you put in situations where it's kind of like, you hate changes, right? But change is actually really good.
It's really good.
So
yeah, nothing good ever comes out of comfort zones, I believe. It's crazy because we were just talking to Albert in our last podcast. That one was actually in Spanish, but he was talking about how, before COVID, he was working with like a big bank, basically designing like their financial packages or something like that, where it's like huge financial institutions, and he's basically an architect of like this product that they were doing. And then like COVID came around, and it was kind of like, oh yeah, we don't need you anymore, sorry.
Right.
And it was kind of like, oh okay, like I was comfortable, I was like, I had this money, like I was making this money, this and that, and it's kind of like somebody came and was like, you know what, you don't get that anymore.
Right,
and I feel like
right.
whenever we're in those comfort zones, it's kind of like anytime something can happen, and that comfort, that safe job, it goes away, right?
Yeah, no, and you know what, and I guess a lot of good businesses came out of taking people away from something really comfortable, as far as like being with that company for a while, and then I don't want to work for somebody else anymore. I want to open my own business, right? So there's a lot of different companies out there that they came out of COVID, from put them in really not stressful situations, but complicated, where you're like, man, I got to do something, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I was at. I was still, Regis, which is the office space at that time. I was still leasing office space. They consider it still essential. So I was still employed, right?
Right.
And to the point that actually we got even busier. So like a lot of oil companies, they were shutting down like their entire buildings, but they were hey, telling people you can either work from home or you can actually rent your own space if you want to go to an office, if you don't want to
They
be
were
at
giving
home,
them
right?
allowance for that.
And they were giving them allowance for that.
Yeah.
So we got even busier during that time.
That's pretty cool.
But I felt like, in my case, I felt like I was more like stuck and kind of like stagnant, or like in one place.
Yeah, you had reached a plateau.
Yeah, and not only that, but within that company, the next step up, it was kind of like it went from area sales manager to a VP of sales, and the guy's like 56 years old, managing a quarter of United States, and you're like, oh, okay,
What was the pay increase on that?
No, I'm saying like it seemed very like unreachable, like
okay.
There was nothing in between an area sales manager here to a VP of sales. It just seemed really
like way too far.
Yeah, too far.
And then I feel like once you get to those like higher up positions, it's like you gotta be committed to the to the company. And it's kind of like, are you really willing to like commit that much for a company? And
yeah, so it just felt like, man, I'm probably gonna be in this position for the next maybe 10 to 15 years if I don't do anything else, So excuse me. So that's whenever I reached out to Brian. I was like, okay, so what is the next step? So hey, get your license. Okay, perfect. So it's something that I just needed to change,
Right.
And I was able to take tests, obviously pass the test and get my license and get started. And it is really hard to get going at the beginning, because number one, no one knows you, no one knows who you are,
Yeah.
and number two, it's really hard to give an opportunity to a new person. You go up to a realtor and hey, I just got my license, and you're like, man, I already have a preferred lender,
right.
And
Yeah, I think like with lending and real estate, I feel like I relate, because not only was I new whenever I first started, but I was young. Like I was 21 years old whenever I started in real estate. So it's kind of like really hard for me to be like, hey, trust me with the the most expensive purchase that you'll ever make. It's kind of like when people are like, well, okay, yeah, you seem nice.
Right. Yeah, it was the same way with me, and I think it's the same with a realtor, right? Coming up to a client, a customer, and asking them for their business, right? So it was the same thing for us. It was a little bit difficult to get going, but I think once, again, I've been in sales my entire life, and if you truly believe in the product and the service and yourself and what you have, it's really easy to like pitch it out there, right? So I was able to get going, and thank God, it's I think it's been like 5 to 6 years now that I've been here in the industry, but I've been a business developer now for 2 years,
Nice.
just because, I think that's actually my
More of a passion.
yeah.
I think I've seen you, right. Like I've met you like a couple of years back, and I was kind of like, I can see that you like the loan part, but I think that you like connecting with people a whole lot more.
You know,
Yeah, I think that.
it's crazy, but that's always been that's always been I've known my entire life, and which is cool, which is good, it's something that it's not for everyone,
Yeah.
same.
Yeah, like it is really not for everybody. Like for me, I feel like it's really hard to pinpoint. Okay, like this type of person will be really good on this, but I think like for you, it just comes really natural, to like put up events, and you go to one of your events, and it's kind of like, oh man, like it's pretty cool, like you do it at such ease, that doesn't feel like, oh my god, everything, like
It's chaotic.
it's chaotic. I'm pretty sure it is in the back end, but
Yeah.
like you make it seem so
Yeah,
so
no, appreciate
seamless.
it, and it's not hard, and you can teach, all of this to just anyone, obviously, right? But it's is how you can handle, yourself, and in really stressful situations where, yes, it is stressful, but you don't want to show the person in charge that's paying for the event that you're stressed about something, right?
Yeah.
You want to find solutions.
Because I feel like as a business owner, right, if we're doing an event, like the least thing that I want to do is worry about the event going on.
Right.
Like I feel like we have enough things in our plate where like anything could go wrong, dude. Anything could go wrong. As a business owner, anything at any time.
It kind of like, it's funny, but it kind of always happens. But at the end of the day, I feel like, as an event coordinator, like you being the business owner, when you're hiring an event coordinator, it's because you want to take that stress out, away from your plate, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So it's kind of like a wedding planner, right? Is where you want to take that stress away from you, where all you want to do is just show up to your party, show up to your event, show up to your wedding, whatever, and just, you know, I guess enjoy it, right? Instead of having to stress out like, where is this, where is that, the photographer, alcohol or food, or music, DJ, whatever, right?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
you just want that person. I think that's why I do understand that, whenever they hire you for something like that, it's, you want to take that stress away from them. But it's to me, it's kind of like second nature, that it's not stressful, but I do have fun with it as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I think that in the industry, I think that industry is so tricky as well, because like you can go into a rabbit hole of like, oh well, I have this event, I have this event, and how do you find the the balance? Like you have a son, like
yes, yes.
he's how old?
He's
Like,
actually 7.5 months
Yeah.
old. Yeah, his name is Benson. So
Benson.
you know my middle name was
Yeah,
Benjamin,
Benjamin.
right?
Yeah.
I
I
told
think
you, right?
we talked about this, but tell
Yeah.
people.
So his name is Benson. My middle name is Benjamin. So Benson is Benjamin's son. The meaning of Benson is Benjamin's son.
son.
Yeah,
That's
and
a nice name.
it just makes
He's the
sense.
coolest kid. Like,
He's so-
we're like
especially
looking at
for
this. Yeah, we were looking at this venue for the party, for the Christmas party.
Oh yeah,
And
he
like
was sweet. He was sweet.
he pulls up, with a stroller,
Right, right.
and he's just like, oh yeah, like this is the venue, this is nice. His son's just kind of like, yeah, I'm here at a club, chilling.
It's good. We were on a walk because I lived on the
Yeah,
street,
you're
right?
good.
We were on a walk, so it was just perfect. But he's he's amazing. He's a really good kid, and as far as the timing goes, I think I do try to kind of like bold my time, as far as like, hey, if I only have like an hour, 2 or 3, or whatever it is with him, I do try to put my 100%, take my phone away, turn off the TV or whatever it is, and be with
Just
him,
focus
just
on
because,
him.
yeah,
100%.
because the majority of my events, they do, I mean, they usually start at 6 p.m. and they do have an ending, but not really an ending or whatever it is, and sometimes that going to bed really late, it can get to you, right? But I think it's all a balance, as long as you have a balance in your life on everything, because it can't be, you going to sleep every single night, at whatever time, right? But at the same time, it's like for me, so I had a total of like a little bit more than 55 events last year.
Wow.
And I had,
Damn, that's like more than, well, it's like one a week plus like two and
almost, yeah, almost. But it just happened that obviously, like I said, the majority of my events were real estate events, But I mean, I had everything from, I had an event with Paul Mitchell, the hair,
stuff,
visible changes. I had a pageant. I had a wedding. I had. I do a lot of events for chiropractors as well, and lawyers and
that's a great industry.
Yeah,
that's
Google AI did an event with us as well.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Which one's the coolest event that you've seen?
You know what? It was it was actually Propels.
Oh yeah, Propel. Yeah, Propel.
Yeah,
Shout
Propels was
out
actually so Propels was actually the best one.
Yeah, I heard it was really good. I couldn't make it.
Yeah. No, it was really, it was a really good time. But I mean, we've had I mean, I think the best, or the best event, or like the wow, factor of an event that I've actually personally went to, that unfortunately I couldn't get that gig. I mean, that particular event, and it wasn't mine. It was a different coordinator out there.
Mm-hmm.
It was for I think for Crown Royal, but what they did is they literally emptied the entire venue, took every single booth out and every single furniture out, and brought kind of like curtains, and they put tall curtains all over the venue, like purple curtains.
Okay.
And they
like the Crown Royal there?
Yeah, Crown Royal, yeah, and they covered the entire venue with that. So you couldn't, like, walking into the venue, you couldn't even like, you were like, am I at the same venue?
Yeah, like
especially because you work,
you work there,
since
right?
I see it every time, and they put like fake walls and kind of like made it into a maze, and made it into, you have the ice sculptures.
Yeah.
That's cool. You have I don't know if you've seen, like, it's almost like this girl laying down with food on top.
Oh, like for like a sushi stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they had all that, and people hanging from the ceilings, and so it was super cool, because one, I didn't recognize my venue. I was like, what,
Yeah.
So I think that was one of the best events. Yeah. So it was super cool. I mean, they took every single bottle of behind the bar out, so they were hiding all that, and they just put the Crown Royal bottles, obviously, right?
I mean, they have the same brand.
So I'm pretty sure, like, me knowing exactly how much it costs, I'm pretty sure it was a really expensive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's not cheap, especially whenever you want to get those extra, like, hey, I'm gonna get a DJ, I'm gonna get, some.
Once you start adding entertainment, you just, it starts popping.
Then you want to get a magician. Then you want to get a couple of poker tables, out there, But then you need to pay the person that's gonna, deal the cards, right?
Yeah,
so
and then like just one company paying for the whole thing is pretty crazy. Because like with real estate, I feel like you get a couple sponsors, and then you like soften the blow a little bit, but then.
Yeah,
like throwing them.
But I mean,
it's Crown
Royal. Crown Royal. So I'm pretty sure they have a very high budget on that. But it's some pretty cool events out there that I've attended.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So like, tell us a little bit about your background, bro. Like, I know you're Salvadorian.
Yeah.
How were you born here?
No, I was actually born in El Salvador.
Ooh.
In San Salvador.
Yeah. I don't know what I did. There you go.
All right.
There you go.
I like it. Yeah, I was actually born in El Salvador. I came here in 2001, and my dad was here already. He was already here. He was here. I think he was already here for 2 years.
Cool.
And the main reason for us, actually, it's funny. I mean, I always, share my story with everyone, but we were never struggling in El Salvador. Like, it was never a struggle for us. Actually, my mom had a really good job. My dad had his own business out there as well, his own restaurant. And for us, it was, I mean, it was completely like the opposite. I think for us, it was more one, my my parents wanted a better opportunity for us, but number two, at that time there was a lot of earthquakes happening.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a 2001 earthquake, like in January and February. We got back to back.
Yeah, and there was another one. I mean, it was back to back, literally, and I think it was the same day too, or something like that.
A month apart.
A month apart. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
So I was there for the earthquake.
Dude, I was there. Like we were there. We still lived in El Salvador when that happened, and my dad and my brother Carlos, they were like, they had gone somewhere, and I remember like the earthquake happening, and like for some reason, like we were watching the news, and they were like in front of the building that Carlos, like my brother and my dad were in, and then like we're like super worried because like the building was kind of collapsing, I think. Wow. And all I remember is like seeing them come out with like all full of, yeah. Wow. I remember that, like, and then it was just crazy. Like that was crazy, scary times to remember.
Yeah, no, it's something that I've, obviously it's you have to experience that to kind of like have the feeling of an earthquake, but it's very scary whenever first you hear like a really loud, like everything is just cracking, right? It's
and there's like different ones, because there's some that go like that, and then there's some that go like that.
I was at home. I was actually at home with my mom, and obviously when the earthquake started happening, we actually came out, and we were leaning against the vehicle. But when I was just looking down the street and seeing the street like move and like kind of like a wave type of, you're like, you're trying to understand, how is this happening? Right?
Yeah.
How is the street literally like a whole wave, right? So it was pretty scary. And then obviously the aftermath of that, and actually, I don't know if people know, but like when an earthquake happens, every single like couple of like hours after, the earth is still trying to settle, I guess. That you get like mini earthquakes throughout like the weeks.
Yeah. And man, that was crazy. That was some scary times. I do remember that. Like that was a tragedy altogether. Like that whole neighborhood that washed down.
Like, Colinas. Yeah, so actually that was maybe like a 10 to 15 minute drive from my house. And I remember seeing the cloud of like dirt, smoke, or whatever it is, and not knowing what it was, obviously, at that time,
and then like no power, no water, no anything. Everything was completely shut down. Man, I was real little whenever that happened, but I remember that vividly.
Yeah,
like we slept in the cars because we were like, man,
right. Like, yeah, you were scared. You were scared. No, it was really scary. I mean, it kind of like felt like almost like the end of the world type of like a situation like that.
That was crazy. It was some crazy times. So like you really didn't like live I mean, I guess it was kind of unsafe at that point, but there was like not a lot of like gang members.
Gangs. No, I never. You know what? To be honest with you, we're like I said, we were good, and we lived in a really good community. So. So we never experienced anything like that. Mm-hmm. We never saw it, and for us it was just more of a better life for me and my sister. So in July 2001, we decided to come over here. But when we came here is whenever we felt like obviously you miss your country, and you.
How old were you?
Begging. I was 12. Yeah,
12. Okay.
I was begging to go back, just because I felt like we had a better life out there than here. Coming here, you come to a one bedroom apartment, and
yeah, it's like super fast paced, and it's like yeah. I mean, you came fairly young. I was already 16 whenever I moved here, so like. I went from a school that I knew absolutely everybody, and I think it was like maybe like 10, 15 people per class, like per grade,
right?
To like, it was like 200 people per grade, and everybody has a different schedule and this and that, and then it's like, it was like a shock to me to be like, man, last week I was just like, having lunch with all my friends, and then nobody,
Man, and you know what, and obviously my story is different, but you do hear a lot of different stories out there, obviously pretty bad stories, war stories, or sad stories. But I do feel like in my case it was just like I was a kid, I was 12 years old, and I was just more sad of like, man, what are we doing here when out there actually through my mom's company they had a kind of like we had a beach house, a ranch,
that you can go in,
that you can go. And so I mean, think about it, every single weekend we will go there, or every single weekend we'll be out of the country, and until Guatemala, Roatan, so we had a really good lifestyle, out there. And then the shock of coming here, right, and living in a 1-bedroom apartment. Now, obviously, you're not getting any Christmas gift, or you're not getting any birthday gifts. It's funny because for the first, it was a big shock. And obviously, I thank my parents for sacrificing, right?
Yeah, because I mean, it was a sacrifice for them too. Like, I feel like whenever we're like move, we're like, man, like I could be over there, but it's kind of like, no, they have their life over there as well.
Yeah, no, and they had their entire memory or history of the majority of their life is out there, right? For me, it was barely starting. So I do appreciate it and thank them all the time, for what they did for us. But at that time I was like, man, it was funny because the only thing that I was getting for either Christmas or my birthday was a $10 Jack in the Box gift card.
Man,
Shout
out Jack in the Box. Dude, them $2 tacos, like the dollar tacos. Well, now they're like $2. I think.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was it was funny because I came to that, right, where Salvador, her company, actually for Christmas, it's crazy, but they used to give you a list and check whatever gift you want. You used to check whatever, right? And for Christmas, a helicopter used to go to your house with Santa Claus and used to drop.
Damn, that's pretty crazy. I never heard of that.
Yeah, Santa Claus.
Santa helicopter.
And he used
90
to drop,
degrees.
He used to drop. He used to drop the gifts. So it was crazy because I was like, okay, experiencing that to like coming up here. But anyways, so I've been here since 2001.
That had to be that has to be a shock. Like for me, I feel like it was weird because like Salvador, like I was super well connected, like all my friends, like not only did I have my school friends, but like my church friends, and it was kind of like different groups. And then like I come here and it's like a complete different,
right,
like completely different. And then now the good thing is that I already knew English, so like that was a little bit easier for me to adapt. But yeah, like it's a crazy life. And then like being able to go to the beach, like you said, like you drive 45 minutes and you're at a nice beach, and then you're
right, excuse me. So it was it's pretty crazy, but like I said, in my case, I was just sad to the fact that, man, I had this out there and not, I don't have this here, but I can relate to people like that, like you, right? Like you were 16 years old, or people coming over here whenever they're already 20 years old, that it's pretty depressing knowing that you already had a lifestyle out there, that hey, it was either school or work, and then you were getting out of school or work, and then you were hanging out with your friends, you were getting a cup of coffee or hanging out.
I feel like the lifestyle, as far as that goes, like I feel like it's more enjoyable over there in certain aspects.
And it's a slower pace too, because I mean, I'm telling you, obviously we've been back now several times, but it feels like you can enjoy every single moment. I mean, and not only that, but you have so many options of like, man, you want to go out, eat, you can actually go to the mountains. It's like a 20-minute drive.
For us, we've done it a couple times. It's like we'll go to what's it called, Albania and Ataco, and then we'll go in the morning, like go over there, do the little labyrinth and all those things, and then like go to Surf City to watch the sunset, and then you like literally close to the highest point in El Salvador to like the lowest point, all in one day. And we've done that multiple times, and it's been like such a good experience. And I feel like time just slows down over there, and over here I feel like it's just work, and then you go home and then it's already dark. Like I feel like over there in El Salvador right now that we have a company down there, it's kind of like I go to the office, you know, do some work, this and that, go to lunch, get some more work done. Okay, now I'll go to the hotel, drop off my stuff, and then okay, now I want to go get something to eat. And it's
Right.
kind of like so chill.
Right.
And then I'm like, why can't I do this in the U.S.? But it's just like I guess the
It's
distances are longer. The lifestyle is much
something.
quicker. I don't know.
Yeah, there's something here in the water, bro. That literally, there's not enough hours.
Yeah, there's really not.
You know that you wanna literally do so much. I don't know. It's just a fast pace, but you know, obviously, like in my case, you know, already, you know, I have a son here. You know, obviously, I'm married.
Dude,
we,
you got married what 2 years ago?
I got married
but
in October, October the 3rd of 2024.
2024. So it's about to be 2 years.
Yeah, it's
This
about to
year.
be,
Man, this guy like they went all out for their wedding.
yeah. we actually went to Italy.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I
So-
remember you telling me about it. I was like, man, like that must have been like.
Yeah, it was fun. You know, it's something. I think in my case, you know, it's I've never been to Europe or you know, overseas or whatever. So for us, it was more like, man, if we don't do our wedding, you know, in Europe, because she's half Italian, right?
Oh, okay.
So if we don't do it like in Italy or something like that, I feel like, man, it's gonna be really hard for us to, you know, try to make it to overseas. You know, just because, you know, you try to, you know, our line of work is like, hey, you work. You know, if you don't work, you don't make money. You have to put in the time, right? You have to put
constantly be working.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
because if you don't work, you know, yeah, you're not getting paid. So, so in our case, it was more like, you know, making the sacrifice of so we were there for a month, you know,
Yeah.
making the sacrifice of us being, you know, out of work and understanding that, hey, yeah, we're not gonna have that income coming in for a month, but you know, you prepare for that, obviously. But at the same time, you know, like my parents are getting older, you know, so is wanting to, for my parents to experience that as well. You know, I think I did it a lot. You know, I was able to obviously, thank God, take care of their, you know, ticket and you know,
I
to
think
stay
that-
out there or whatever. So
Yeah, I think that anytime that you can unlock an experience for your parents, it's kind of like it's a cool thing, right? Like they've done so much for us, right? Like they've done so much for us, and like for you to say that, you know, like oh, like I was able to take them to Italy for my wedding, you know, like I think that that's like it's a beautiful thing, right? I think that you know you gotta give back to your parents and stuff.
yeah. No. I mean, trust me. Like I said, I thank them all the time for the sacrifice that they had to do. You know, to come here, and you know that was something that I was able to. I was happy to do that for them. You know, and being out there. You know, so they were out there for about 2 weeks, but you know, being able to experience. I mean, I experienced that different culture, different you know.
Whole different continent.
Some different continent, yeah. So
how long is the flight from here?
Actually, I can't remember. I think I don't remember.
It had to be like more like 8 hours. Or
Something like that, you know,
Okay.
something like that. I just no, but it was, you know what? Since so our wedding was in near Tuscany, so it was in the country, right?
Mhm.
And there's not a straight, you know, flight to that part of Italy or whatever. So you had to go from, I think it went from here to Germany.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
and
Germany.
then in
So
Germany,
Getting Frankfurt and then
yeah,
Frankfurt to
Frankfurt to I think it was Rome. I don't know. Anyways, but it was from Germany to Italy, and then from Italy you have to get a train, and then eventually you get to a train station, and then you have to get a car, you know, transportation to the actual venue. And that entire process was almost like a whole 24-hour process,
Yeah.
you know,
Man,
just
that's
because it's just an entire
and then you're acclimating to like
man, it was tough.
the
But you know
time.
what? The cool thing about it is that, you know, we were able to actually rent the entire venue. So the venue itself it was actually an old town in Italy,
Yeah.
in the mountains, right?
Dang.
In like it's a beautiful countryside, like a whole bunch of hills, and and I guess that company purchased that old village that, you know, there was a school, there's a small bar, you know, and the school they were able to transform that into the hotel, you know, and so the entire venue is actually an old village. So we were able to rent the entire village. So I mean, we invited a lot of people, but obviously,
like my invitation got lost in the mail.
It's because you were in El Salvador.
Yeah, I was in El Salvador. That's what it was.
So no, so it was cool because well, I mean, we were thinking about, you know, especially overseas like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
you had to like set it up where like they just have to book the flight, and then like, okay, like this is where we're staying.
Yeah. We have rented all the rooms already. You know, like I said, we did the buyout of the entire place. I mean, it's not a big place, but we did the buyout of all the rooms. But the cool thing about it is that over 75 people were able to make it, bro. Which is crazy.
Yeah, that's which is crazy.
Because we're thinking about like, okay, cool, we have our family. You know, I have maybe like
5,
40, and then she has another 10, and we're thinking about like 25.
Yeah,
you know,
maybe 30, maybe 40. Maybe.
No, but 75.
That's a lot of people.
75. So it was an amazing experience. It was really good, you know, and then
it looked beautiful.
Right after that, we just, you know, we were everywhere in Italy, you know, from, you know, Amalfi Coast to just so everywhere. I mean, it was extremely nice, but yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, man, that's so cool. I think that like those experiences, you know, you're gonna take them forever, right? Like you're gonna grow older, and then you're gonna be like, man, like I was able to do that for like a whole month with me.
An entire month, bro, an entire month. It's, you know, I like it. I mean, when are you gonna get to experience that again? You know, or when are you gonna get to go to?
Especially now that you have a kid, right? Like, how are you ever gonna take off for a month with him? Like, unless you take him with you, but I guess he's still young enough where you can do
maybe
that.
Later. I was thinking about like doing like a 5-year type of celebration anniversary. You know, maybe like something like that. But yeah, it's really hard. Like I'm telling you, like if you don't make those sacrifices as far as like those decisions, like, you know what, let's just do it. You know, you go for it, you pay for it, whatever it is. You know, if you don't do it now, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years later, you're like, man, I should have done that, you know, whatever, right? Or because in my case, I was telling actually her, I was like, man, let's just get married in El Salvador. You know, it's cheap, this and that, blah, blah, this and that. And she was like, well, you've been to El Salvador already like 20 times, so don't you want to experience something else? I'm like, nah, it's good, it's better, you know. Come on, you know. Yeah. But, you know, I'm glad she convinced me and got me out of you know,
out of your train of thought.
Yeah.
Because I think that's so cool. Like, honestly, like your story and your wedding, story and venue and everything is like one of the coolest ones that I've seen. Honestly,
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I think that like not everybody gets to say, oh yeah, we were in a little town and like we rented out.
No, it was cool. You know, it was super cool. It was a blessing. You know, obviously, you know, it's something that I'm extremely grateful for. You know, experiencing that. You know, and it's not cheap, but it was such an amazing experience. It was we actually had a 3-day party. So, you know, the day that you arrived, or the next day, I guess, whatever time you arrived, we had a welcome party.
Right, like an icebreaker.
Yeah. So we actually did. We're baking pizzas and, you know, pasta. And
did you put pineapple in the pizza?
No,
pineapple in the pizza.
But it was just more like a class that a chef out there was kind of like, you know. But it was just for fun. I mean, we're
just an icebreaker, right? Like it's something to get everybody involved, because most people don't know each other, right? Like so you gotta get them interacting.
Yeah,
like,
so
they're gonna be ready for them.
So it was a super cool idea where, you know, obviously you have, you know, and everyone was invited to that, you know, obviously. So everyone was there, and we had a really good time, and, you know, seeing the venue, and obviously, you know, the village had a little bar that obviously it's part of the venue. So, you know, right after that, it's like, hey, let's just go to the bar now.
Yeah.
So, and it's all of us, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was super cool, you know.
Yeah.
But and we did a farewell. So after obviously the wedding and then the farewell party, which it was, we did kind of like what is that drink? I'm sorry. It's like the orange.
The sangria?
No.
The orange.
Anyways, so we themed
Capri. Well, no, what's it called?
Aperol
Aperol
Spritz.
Spritz.
Yeah,
There you go.
Aperol
Capri.
Spritz. So we themed it. We did a theme of Aperol Spritz.
That's good.
It was at 11 a.m. the day after the wedding, and they have a pool on out there. They have like a pool, so we did kind of like a pool party type of setting. But obviously not getting in the pool, but it was more like around the pool area. So that was super cool. But it's something that, man, I'm telling you, like it was like a movie that everything. I mean, the venue.
No, I mean it looked beautiful. It looked crazy.
So
So that's so
Yeah.
cool. I mean, so what would you tell somebody, or what is the one thing that you would say? And I think this is a recurring theme that we have on the podcast. What are the things that you wish that you'd have spent money on earlier on, versus like something that you wish you would have been like, man, I shouldn't have bought that.
like what?
So like we talked about like that we're talking about like sometimes people go in and like they spend a lot of money on like bottle services, and like they spend a lot of money on like eating out or different things, and it's kind of like, man, I should have probably not done that. I probably should have
Yeah,
bought
you know
stocks
what?
or
I
something.
think so. I'm 37, and my entire 20s, it was all about obviously you're going out experiencing that getting bottle service or whatever it is, and never and I think it's because of how, especially in the Latino community, sometimes we are not very, or our parents or whatever it is, the culture itself, very not educated as far as like, hey, what is savings, right? What is your credit? What is maybe even the stock market, right? I mean, I just don't remember ever having a conversation and sitting down with maybe my parents and telling me like, hey, you need to start investing, soon. Once you turn 18, maybe save some money. Maybe we'll help you out with some money, and and get you a property, right? Rental property, whatever it is. It was never like that. It was never,
It was kind of like just figure it out on your
just,
own, and
it was more like, hey, right after high school, get a job, try to find a wife, try to buy a house, and then have kids, live there forever, and then that's it. That's kind of like the mentality of the Latino, right, of the Hispanic community. Which that's one of the things that I've been really advocated for, is educating the Hispanic communities to like, let's say in my case, right, my entire 20s, I was just spending money like crazy, right? Which obviously, yeah, if I go back in time, I would do completely, different things, just because, whenever I got in this industry, you start learning a lot of things about like different things that you can do, from flipping to investing to, doing this, doing that, or whatever. So one of the things that I do advocate, like I said, is I do have kind of like financial, or more like educational classes for churches. And so I'll go to a church,
Right.
and obviously talk to the pastor and get everything set up, right? And I get the entire congregation to kind of like listen to me for a little bit, and trying to educate them on what does it take to purchase a house, right? So I've done that a couple of times here in Houston to a Hispanic church, the Hispanic community, because I mean, I'm telling you, like, I started a class with them and try to educate, hey, what does it take to buy a house? What is credit? What is this, right? And you have no idea how many questions I get, throughout that process, people, hey, I didn't know you could do that, or I didn't know you had the ability to
Or
do that.
people think, oh, well, I need 20% to buy the house, right? Like I need X amount of money, and I feel like also like we're very set on like, oh, this is the house that we're gonna live in forever,
Right.
So if it's something that it's not in your budget now, or like you want something bigger, something nicer, something like that, it's kind of like, oh well, like I don't want to buy this because then I'm gonna get stuck with it forever, and it's kind of like, no, like you can buy this property, live in it for a couple of years, sell it, then
Yeah, there's a
upgrade
lot
it,
of
upgrade it,
there's a
upgrade
lot of different things out there. There's a lot of different tools. There's a lot of different. I mean, there's just a lot of different information out there that obviously that's not the case as far as like, hey, but that's the mentality of the Hispanic, right? That is
I
like,
think
hey,
it's shifting now. I feel like Hispanics have changed their mindset more and more
Right.
as we grow as a community. I think that there's more people buying, more younger people buying, more younger
Right.
women buying properties.
Right. No,
Like
which is trust me.
a lot.
I mean, it's amazing. I think it was. I think maybe, um, uh, e- it's a younger generation more than our like my generation. As
Yeah,
you know,
I
like
think a lot of people in my generation are
yeah.
still like going to the clubs and buying a bottle.
Or starting to purchase something now. You know, like you're 30 already. You know, you're 35 or
Yeah,
whatever.
it took forever to buy a house,
So,
and I was
yeah.
like selling real estate, but I never bought a house until
Yeah.
like later on, and I was kind of like, I should have done this like way long ago. Why didn't I do that?
Yeah,
Like,
no, and I'm telling you, I think I do advocate a lot with trying to educate our community, especially like the older generation, you know. So I do. I go to schools,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
so low income schools, public schools, and I get an entire classroom with teachers
Oh, okay.
that, and I obviously give that class and try to educate them on, how to purchase a home or what does it take to purchase a house, what is credit and all that, right? And the majority of those teachers don't understand that there are teacher programs, and the majority of those teachers, if not all, they actually live in apartments,
Right.
Near the area, right, where they teach. But I've one, obviously, yeah, you do it for a purpose of, see if you can get some, deals or whatever it is, right? But I think the main part of me going to either a church or a school to educate the teachers or a congregation is to educate our community,
Right.
because our community, I mean, it's typically like whenever you're doing a deal for a person that, it's my first time buying a home, or I've been renting my entire life.
Right.
It's like, yeah, I have a lot of money, but it's, mattress money, right?
Right.
It's like, I have like whatever.
Yeah. And I feel like our community too. They don't trust banks, regular
Right.
banks, right? So it's kind of like, oh no, like why am I gonna give the bank this money?
Right,
When-
right. And not only that, we're all set to it. And I'm telling you, it's just that piece, right, of us not being that educated, but obviously that's changing now.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's funny because whenever I was working for T-Mobile, as a store manager, and every single person that used to come to the store to make payments,
Yes.
on their bill
Cash.
was cash, and it was Hispanics.
Hispanic, yeah.
And it's funny because we used to tell them like, hey,
Yeah.
you can set up just an automatic draft, or no, I'll be here next month. I'll be here next month.
It's-
Because they want to see the transaction. They want to see like, hey, here's my money. They want to see the transaction, and I need the receipt. And that's how it is. It's always been like that. It's an old school. It's nothing wrong about it. But it's just different things like, those things maybe don't help you with credit, or those things don't help you with this. Or wanting to, purchase everything cash.
Yeah, everything cash. Like, I feel like it's a lot of like, oh, I don't want to owe anybody any money, right? I don't want to owe X amount, but I feel like you have to be able to leverage that. And I feel like whenever we start teaching people, hey, like, there's programs out there, right, where I know a lot of Hispanics that, or a lot of my clients at least, that will have that mattress money, and it's kind of like, okay, like, well, I want to buy a distressed property, I want to invest money in it, and then I'm gonna sell it, right? Like, I want to fix and flip, and I'm like, okay, like, how much money do you have? He's like, oh, well, money's not an issue. It's like, but why would you spend all this money on this project when you can use other people's money, right?
Right,
Like, whenever
right.
you can leverage their money, so that way the risk is
Right.
It's less. Right?
Less, yeah. And sometimes they're set on their ways, bro. Like they're
Yeah.
just set that, I mean, you want to make them understand where, hey, you know what, instead of using all that for just that one purchase, let's divide it into different
Different ones.
different investments, and then just borrow some money, and obviously, it's whatever, right? But no, it's, I want to use this, I want to pay this $150,000 cash, to his $150,000 home, and I don't want to owe nobody, and then plus the rehab, I'm gonna pay cash, and you're like,
And it's like you're out leveraged, like you have no leverage whatsoever. All your money is tied up in there.
Yeah.
But I think that's super interesting. But the fact that you go into like the schools, the churches. You know, like you put yourself out there, and I think that like I feel like once we bring something of value to people, you know, like that's whenever the money starts coming in. I'm 100% a believer in that. It's like if you provide a service, if you provide, you know, like and you do it with the right intention, money's gonna follow really fast.
Right. No, and you know what? Also, you know, there's a lot of people that get into this industry kind of like with a different mentality, right? But you know, whenever you don't have the kind of like the best interest for your client or for that person or for your customer or for that borrower, right? And the reason why you're doing this because you really want to get a good check, right, or a good payday or whatever it is. Sometimes you know those transactions actually they they bite you in the butt. You know?
They'll fall through. They'll fall
Yeah.
through. They'll yeah, they won't pan out. I think that's I'm a huge believer in that. It's like if you don't do it with like a well intended heart, things are gonna come back and like haunt you. You know, like the different things.
Yeah, because I mean, think about it. If you know, if you do have the best interest for your client, and then you truly in your heart know that, hey, you know what? Yeah, I could have made more money, but I feel like you know, because of their situation, I was able to do this for them. You know, that referral comes through, right? Compared to that one person that you literally screwed, you know, and they tell their friends, you know, obviously their family members or friends, like, you know, what the transaction was like, or their buying process, right? They're like, really, he did that, or whatever, right? Or did he ask for this, or did he ask for that, or he give you any, you know, it's kind of like, you know, you won't get referrals from that person,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
So yeah, maybe your commission is gonna be a little bit less on that one person, but the referrals coming behind it are gonna make up a lot more, you know, 10x compared to.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. It's like not blocking your blessings, right? Like whenever you get greedy, whenever you do this XYZ, right? You block your blessing. I feel like, and like you said, okay, you could have made more. Yes, okay, everybody wants to make more.
Right.
But if you're helping out a situation where this person can get in the home of their dream, or you know something, they need this property, whatever, like they're gonna come back and be like, hey, like this person helped me, and I feel like there's no better feeling for a client to call you and be like, man, I'm so thankful
Right.
for the process and everything that we went through.
Right.
Especially once they like if they're your friends, if they're, you know, like they come in and they're like, man, like this, we're here, we're at the party or whatever, and they're like, thank you. That wouldn't have been
Right.
possible
Yeah.
if it wasn't for
Yeah,
you. So
that
I think
is
that
true.
that's super rewarding. At least for me, it has been.
Yeah, and then you know you make those connections with those clients that they become, you know, you become really good friends and family, and to a point that you know they keep inviting you to every single event that they have. You
for
know,
sure.
so
Yeah, I love that. I
which
love
is
that.
cool.
But yeah, man. Did you have anything that you wanted to plug in?
No, just you know, just if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's elirivera.txlo, and that's all I have.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for having
Yeah,
me.
man.
here,
Thank you
know,
so much. I
appreciate
think it was a great podcast. I feel like I got to, you know, good conversation. I feel like this is part of what the podcast is. You know, conversation with people. You know, get to know, you know, a little bit more about you.
Yeah, no, this
that
is
that
awesome.
story about the Santa and the helicopter. It's
Yeah,
kinda like,
crazy.
how do you match that?
I know, right?
Like,
I know, right?
like your son's never gonna know what that's like.
He's not gonna experience
He's
that.
not gonna experience that. You know?
He's not, but I'll let him know.
Yeah, he's
I'll
like,
tell
man,
him
whenever
the
I was
story.
little, Santa came in on a helicopter.
I'll tell him every year, but that's crazy.
That's so cool, man. Thank you so much. Let me give you a round of applause.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
for the audience.
Yeah, thank you,
Hey,
guys.
thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, bro.